with Spa, the next round. Before we begin the track guide, I want to thank Adam Markovits because from now on our track guides will be shared in his Facebook page. Some of you know Adam. He's very active on Facebook. He builds setups for the game. So right from the start of the game, he tries to come up with configs for people to tackle the game with more confidence. He's very appreciated among the Facebook community, among people who play the game, and he will allow us to share our content in his page. So, Adam, thank you very much, and let's hope these track guides help your followers combine with your setups to master the game. So, as per Spa, this one has a very difficult approach because you might be tempted to tackle it with very low arrow, and it's perfectly natural you think of this approach considering the track and its long high speed sections. But it's curious to see that a lot of fastest drivers actually bet on higher arrow setups. Obviously not too high, but higher than we could expect. I've tried both approaches, so more arrow and lighter arrow, and the fastest lap was actually done with lower arrow. However, this does not mean that lower arrow is indefinitely better. So, what I can tell you is this. Basically, the second sector will kind of be your bet or your giveaway. If you can master the second sector, if you can master the second sector and keep within the RS of your opponents so you do not lose them on the fast flowing sections of the track, you might have a great result. If not, then you should bet on high speed configuration. The best advice is, as always, practice both settings and see which one fits you better. This one and the setup which will be left on Discord is a low arrow approach. Okay, so let's begin with the lap. Right before the start of the lap, you can use a little trick. You can approach this part on your out lap before the flying lap. You can approach this part on the far right end, but without invalidating, so you can have a greater launch for the lap. I actually didn't do it here, but when I tried it, it had good results. So this one we will start by tackling this corner on third gear, and as you will know, after when we reach it here during the lap, this is usually a very unstable place. Okay, let's begin. Okay, so for this one, when you are on your flying lap, when you're starting your flying lap, try to tackle this as China. So you should do a diagonal across the straight until the breaking point. When you will finish the lap, you'll keep on the far right. Okay, so the hairpin. The lap starts with a critical place because this hairpin usually dictates how your lap will be. A poor exit will harm you on the downhill section, and I also think it might harm your entire sector 1 because If you fail this corner, you will not have any chances to make up for it. So, right at the beginning of the lap, this is crucial. If you are struggling on Q and you mess up your lap here, I strongly advise not to carry on with that effort. Might as well, if possible, try to plan a new lap. You can brake after the 100-meter board, but not very, I'd say 90 meters. As soon as you pass that board, brake hard, downshift to third, and let the car rotate around the hairpin. Return to the throttle is very difficult here, but this is where tackling in third gear might help. You can return more safely to the acceleration. If you do it on second gear, you will have a more twitchy rear, especially if you run low aero setups. Okay, so you should be able to feel when it's safe to put that power on the floor. As soon as you feel that point, just do it. Upshift to fourth for more stability, so to avoid any rear snaps, and then you go into one of the finest, I believe, sections in all of motorsport. Okay, so the legendary Eau Rouge Radion. For this one, you have to avoid snapping at your wheel. Smooth, precise input is the key here, especially if you are following another car and you get dirty hair, or if you are already in the a far stretch of your stint because tires will be strained. If you snap your wheel here, you will crash. No, there's no chance to avoid it. So what you have to do is take advantage of those curbs without invalidating and try to take the straightest line as possible. You you can't make left then quick right turn and then quick left because you will lose your car. And if you're not doing this flat, you are not doing it fine. If you feel your car losing a lot of thrust, you can either downshift or during the race you can actually use the battery to help with the uphill section. But on a Q lap or a time trial, you are supposed to tackle this flat 8 gear. There's a lot of time to be gained here if you cut this curb at its maximum without invalidating the lap. So this is a good place to trim some lap time, but you have to be very precise. Okay, I'm not saying much here because this is no secret, just punch it, enjoy the ride. This is a place where you should make a lot of your overtakes or also get overtaken. By the way, in order to defend overtakes, the best option is to position your car in the middle, but please no weaving. This is a very common place for incidents, especially if you give a line to your opponent and then cross once again to it. Alright, so this part, medium speed part, where I found it better not to be too harsh on the brake. So, what you should do here, in my opinion, what you should do is gently press the brake, but not you can't be. It's not a tap. Uh, you can try to find a middle point between a tap and pressing hard. Just reduce. Your objective will be to put your car into the appropriate speed to take these S turns because this is actually kind of a fast flowing part of the circuit. Brake after the 100-meter board. I downshift to fourth, but I think fifth is also a good option here. And then it's all about flow. You have to get your car flowing through this part, and the throttle will actually help. You cannot overdo it because the car will snap, but if you're feeling it understeery, throttle inputs will actually help you to get through this part. At this point, just to mention, at this point you cannot have it unstable. In order to tackle this part with optimum performance, if you go way over the braking point on the previous right corner, you will be coming here fighting with your wheel. And this will ruin your lap and ruin this part because this is all about following a very strict racing line, and smooth inputs will be key here. Okay, for this one, braking is not necessary. With higher arrow, this is not a flat part too, but with higher arrow, you actually can do this with a small lift. If you have low arrow, then you have to release the throttle and let the car go through that curve. There is I think it looks like a sidewalk part in that curb which you can use. But you have to watch it because if you cut too deep, you will invalidate your lap. Mid, at the middle of that corner, you should be already going full throttle. It provides that stability. You should avoid understeer because it will invalidate your lap on the exit on the left curb. Sorry, forgot to mention. Um, this one will be done in fourth gear, but as I mentioned, it is also possible to make it on fifth. Let me just rewind a little bit so you can actually see the entire flow. Okay, so this should be your goal to exit this corner here, going full throttle and taking advantage of this curve. Curves are actually pretty stable here in Belgium. You can take them for your advantage. Okay, so for this one will offer a difficulty. You do not have any visual cues going into this corner. What I do here is when I hit the curb, I start braking. It cannot be a very hard braking because you will lose momentum going into this corner. This is a very long right corner, and this usually the trick here in this kind of corners is to hug that apex, hug the curb in the apex, follow it, and try to feel when it's safe to return to the throttle. You have to do it progressively here. This will not allow you to punch in the throttle. You have to return in a very controlled manner. Brake, downshift to fourth, another downshift to third to add more rotation, but this will not be all at once. So what you should do is something like this. You arrive here in seventh gear, click, 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 you start attacking the corner, and then another click to get the extra rotation. You also, if you downshift too fast, you will lose your rear. Hug the inside curb, and as soon as you feel it hugging the floor, the track, return to the throttle. Around this point, you should be able to return to the throttle. Then you want to do that kind of slingshot move. So you will exit on the left, but you immediately slingshot your car to the right to prepare for the next left corner. Risk of understeer here. You may invalidate your lap. This is a very hard corner. I usually feel a lot of trouble here. You should do this in fifth gear. However, if you're not feeling confident, you might want to drop to fourth to add more rotation and to allow a more safe travel around the corner. You can either tap a little on the brake, or if done properly, lifting should be enough. Lifting the throttle. Okay, so as you can see, I am not taking full advantage of this curb. This is a place where if you do it, you will gain time, and you will also have an edge going through this downhill section. Okay, Pujon, I think it's the name of this corner. It's so tempting to go flat here, but I don't know if it's possible. If it's possible with the right aero configs, I can't do it. Flat is not possible for me. I did it without braking, just lifting, but I kind of felt like losing time here because I must confess I do not feel a lot of trust going to this corner, especially during the race where this corner is kind of a hazard. You might lose your rear here at a later part of the stint. So keep a close attention on this corner, because as your stint progresses, you will have to adapt. I have reached here in extended seventh gear, then lift the throttle, and when I felt it going steady, flat again, all the way through the corner. This is, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like two left corners in sequence, and there is also an understeery risk here, so this might be a common place for track limits violation. If you mess up the entry, you will definitely go. I'm trying. Let me see if I can remember. Go wide. If you mess up the entry, you'll definitely go wide. Just another note. Unlike what's the advice here, this is actually a place where snapping your wheel might help, but if you overdo it, you will lose your rear. So it's a very delicate balance here. I think this is the most dangerous corner of the track. So once again, a nice fast flowing part, but where it's usually very easy to mess up. Once again, your aero configs, so we're on the second sector, so your aero configs will dictate how you travel through here. Low aero, you need to be more careful. Higher aero gives you more thrust, but this will not be an easy part of the lap. Once again, it's not a hard braking, it's kind of controlled braking into the first right corner, on fourth gear, braking will start around the 50-meter board, and you have to mantle all you can on that curve so you have the necessary angle to do the following left turn and going flat as soon as you can. You will also upshift mid S, so you will attack this one in fourth, and you should upshift to fifth before going through the left corner. This is another place where you can have a track limits violation. If you feel that the car will not sorry, will not make it, just lift your throttle and focus on keeping it inside the track limits. Also, another place where you can lose your rear, especially not on the left corner, but here on the right. Sorry, I said it the other way around. Not on the first right corner, but on the second left corner. Okay, so next. This one is very important. This corner will basically dictate your third sector. If the exit is poor, it's kind of like the hairpin. So if you remember, you now have a very long flat section. So if you mess up this corner, you will resent it on the fast section. So what you should do is brake before before the beginning of the curve. You are in sixth gear, downshift to fourth, try to take it across the apex on the right, and try to return as soon as you can to the throttle. Because if you fail your exit, your entire third sector will be going bad. Don't know if you noticed, so you kind of have a little spot where it's almost like preparing the exit. The car is nice and steady, and at the right moment, just give it everything you got so you can leave at maximum speed here. From now on, this will be all flat until the final two corners, and your steering inputs will have to be very smooth to avoid losing time. Sometimes you may lose your car here. So this is supposed to be done flat, but once again, pay close attention to your tire degradation. On the last part of the stint, you might not be able to make this flat. And if you mantle that left curb, you can spin, and usually this ends with you going against the wall on the right or even crashing in that barrier on the left. You cannot mantle this left curb. The car will be totally undrivable. Just to mention that in this one, you obviously have to go flat. This is not wasn't always done like this. This is Blanchimont. Blanchimont used to be a very challenging corner, but now it's just a matter of pressing pushing keeping your foot down and doing the smoothest line you can. Just to advise you that although it is not a difficult corner, sometimes you may fail the entry, because once again this is one of those corners where the racing line is very, very strict. And if you do that, this is another track limits violation point. You will fail the exit and go over the curb, and you will get that warning. Okay, so after all of this, then we have this hellish section. I hate it here. I must confess, I miss the old spa where this part was the bus. I think it's still called the bus stop chicane, but you kind of have had two chicanes which were not as tight as this one. This one, you will feel the car going all over the place. Very hard to keep control here. Brake around the 100-meter mark. Hard brake. Now, for this one, you actually have to feel it reducing, feel it going slower, so you can do that right corner with the utmost precision. This is a place for precision. Also, you will need to prepare for the exit of the left corner. So brake hard, downshift to third, and try to take it as gently as you can. Okay, so for this one, it's once again, you'll have to find that sweet spot where you can snap your wheel, but without making it too unstable on the exit. Because if you do not keep it nice and steady on that exit, if you are turning too much, and this is a place where you be always prone to turn too much. When you press the throttle to finish the lap, the car will skid. So what you want to do is attack the corner, but focus on returning the car into a straight position so you can finish your lap and you can punch in the throttle without the rear snapping. Because if the rear snaps, you will mess this lap, the next one, and you can also spin here. As you can see, this was a kind of over cautious, but this may happen, especially if you are going on a good lap. You will be extra cautious here, but that's not bad at all. The worst part is if you mess the lap. So around here, you should be able to go flat. And as you remember, on your flying lap, on your Q lap, finish it here on the far right end of the track. All right, guys, 141.1. I I would like to go to the 40s, but I don't think that will be within my reach. Okay, so sorry for the long guide, but this is also a long track, so it was not possible to make a short video. All right, have a good one at Spa.